Turning now tonight to Washington, Trump Attorney General Bill Barr has, for the first time, named a day he will release this redacted Mueller report. That day is Thursday. And we're told that in an announcement today, and it comes after Barr testified he was on pace to release the Mueller report this week. And today, the Justice Department says they have this plan. Now, it is a plan, so the day could move again. But the timing is notable because Barr is picking when to release his redacted version of this obviously very anticipated report. Now, it could be a Monday to start the week. It could be a Friday or the weekend, like some of his memorable letters. It could be Good Friday. That hits this week. And I'm here to tell you tonight, Barr is pretty close because he's told the world for the first time today that of all the days that could begin the multi-day process of reading and reacting to this redacted report, the Attorney General has picked the eve of Good Friday and Passover, which could be a sign that Barr wants to use this process to try to play down the report heading into a Friday holiday weekend rather than play it up. And that's interesting because it matches these new reports that Trump's team is concerned about what's in this report, with plans to uncork a potentially aggressive response, including a rebuttal from Rudy Giuliani and a so-called counter report. And they're already leaking that they have 140 pages of counter report, but it could be whittled down to 50 by Thursday, with prepared arguments rebutting any evidence on potential obstruction of justice. The larger signs here are becoming clear. Donald Trump's allies are fixated on getting ahead of this actual Mueller report, from Barr's letter that went beyond the findings in the Mueller report to Trump claiming a report that he hasn't read yet. It completely exonerates him. Now, this tack is obviously suspicious because if the report really exonerated Donald Trump fully, you wouldn't need a counter report from their perspective. And you wouldn't need a PR strategy of these letters and excerpts or a holiday news dump that might play down the report. If the report were a slam dunk, you'd expect they'd want the thing out there for days of coverage and time for victory laps, including on television, especially with this administration. Now, there's nothing new about Trump and Giuliani contradicting themselves while attacking the Russia probe, going from honorable to angry Democrats and back to honorable. What's new in today's announcement, why this is our top story from DOJ here, are the signs that the Barr Justice Department appears in a closer lockstep with Trump's defense strategy than, say, Rosenstein and Mueller did. And we're hearing that from legal experts, even as many have previously credited Mr. Barr as a respected and serious legal figure.
He is a serious adult who would run the Justice Department and be respected.
Barr is coming in with a reputation as, relatively speaking, a pretty independent force in the Justice Department, and somebody who wants to maintain that integrity and respect.
I've always thought him to be a principled man, a man of integrity.
Barr brought solid legal experience to the Justice Department. If you watch our coverage, you've heard me reference and report that. You've heard me note his esteem among the conservative legal establishment in Washington. The scrutiny on Barr right now isn't as much about what he's done in the past. It's about how he is leading the Justice Department in this unusual Trump administration, from his rushed weekend announcements about what we now know was a 400-page report he downed and then released conclusions on by Sunday night. What we're dealing with now are his selective quotes from that report. What we're dealing with now are his statements objecting to criticism of his depictions of the report. Don't call it a summary, as he memorably said in his LL Cool J moment, or his provocative reference to spying at a recent hearing. Now, any one of those moves, I say this seriously because it is important to be fair, any one of those moves in isolation you might dismiss, just like you might dismiss this apparently, obviously curious announcement that he's going to drop the report on the eve of major holidays. Alone, you might dismiss that. You might give it benefit of the doubt. Take it all together, though, and the scrutiny intensifies because burying controversial moves around the holidays is a go-to Washington move because it works. It works even if you get called out for it, because while you're getting called out for it, many people are understandably busy with the holiday, so they hear less about you getting called out for it. That was the case when President Trump pardoned Joe Arpaio on a Friday night, heading into a hurricane, if you remember. And that was the case when President Bush pardoned 6 people for Iran-Contra on Christmas Eve in '92. People knew what the move was, but that was the timing, because that stuff does work. Now, that was ultimately President Bush's call, a call that he was advised on by then Attorney General Bill Barr. Now, timing is something that Mr. Barr still lawfully controls. As for how much he redacts, that may not be up to him alone. There's a bipartisan push coming out here, news breaking today, that the leaders of the House Intel Committee, Adam Schiff and Devin Nunes from both parties who sparred over the Russia probe in the past, are together demanding Barr provide all of Mueller's materials and a briefing from Mueller and his team. That is interesting. So what is Mueller up to? Well, we know Barr's been name-checking him and saying he and his team are involved in redactions. We haven't, as is typical, heard much from Mueller himself, but we can report that Bob Mueller was heading into his office again this morning, a sign that he is either working or meeting with people or doing something with the DOJ during this period when his probe has, of course, officially ended. Hey, I'm Ari Melber from MSNBC. You can see more of our videos right here, or better yet, subscribe to our YouTube channel below. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that.